Called meeting of the Sheriff County Board of Supervisors to order. First order of business is roll call. We're all present, I guess. So, and then we'll, if you'd all stand for the silent prayer and a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you were all sent an agenda. I would look for a motion to approve the agenda. Could I ask, though, before that we move under presentations, move number 4 up to number 1 position? Okay, motion by Mr. Urban, second by Mr. Wadle. During the discussion. Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you were sent minutes for the February 18th, 2025 regular meeting. Would someone want to make a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, motion by Ms. McCormick. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? All right, passes. We didn't have anybody register for public comments. So, and there's no unfinished business. We'll move into new business. So we'll go right to the number 4, which was the Owner Direct Insurance Program, or ODIP check presentation. Advance for us.
Am I live? Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Bueller? I put on my answer key just to start this story out. These presentations are like the highlight of part of what I get to do for a living. And so there's only a handful of people that are more excited tonight than me giving out money, and that should be you receiving money. So not only is it a big check, it's a big check. And so Mr. Jarvis knows the number, and so we're gonna kind of have a little build up to when we unveil the check and you guys get to see the number and the hard work that went into getting that number put together. But did you know that Waushara County is an owner of an insurance company? So if you're a newer supervisor, maybe you haven't quite heard too much about it. You've been a member, John helped me out, I think since 1992 or so, unless you know an exact date.
I don't.
What's the name of that insurance company you own? It's not a trick question because I'm wearing the hat. So why would John Jarvis, your board chair, know the answer is the Wisconsin County Mutual? Because John has rolled up his sleeves and gracious enough to serve on the board of directors. And so, John, have you been on for quite a year or close to?
Close to a year, yeah.
So the county, so John's one of my boss. And so are you, my boss, because the mutual by insurance definition, if you are a policy holder, you are an owner of the company. I work at your pleasure. John's on the board of directors, so I really work for him, and I don't want to upset him much because he's on the board of directors. So I appreciate that. Our board of directors that governs and guides our insurance company. John is, what district are you representing?
District 6. I don't know what. 6.
District 6.
Yeah. 6 here. Yeah.
How your insurance company operates, there's 7 districts around the state. There are representatives, elected officials only can serve on the board of directors. John rolled up his sleeve and said, I'll be glad to do my district. And he got nominated for the position and he's there. So John's a really valuable member. I hear just great things from the other board members about what John's doing. Another meeting, another night, another travel. So really appreciate Mr. Jarvis being able to roll up his sleeves and help us out. I'm going to tell you a short story. It's not a fictional story. It's about real people and real people that make things happen that you're going to get to meet here shortly. And so our ODIP stands for Owner Direct Insurance Program. And you are using your insurance company for a new idea that started years ago. And the gentlemen behind me have done several of these projects with us. And when they're done well, you get a big check like this. And when you see the number, I'm going to really point out how well you did. We had 2 projects going on, didn't we? You're in one of them. This is a really valuable room. You know, I used to be full of insulation for our HVAC because I was here often and this was a nice big area. Then we could use it for storage and we would stage things in here. Then the highway shop project kicked off after this one started. That one got done before. Another great project run by the same company behind me. And we pooled all of that together for this check. So this check represents all the hard work done on both projects. How does this thing work? So without going into insurance, and bore you about workers' compensation, if people get hurt, there's workers' compensation insurance that kicks in. It's not free. It's a costly line item, usually, even for our county here. So the way that we bid this project is that we ask the contractors to come here to back out the cost of their work comp insurance. Let the county hold it. They'll buy the insurance using your insurance company, the work comp insurance, for all of those trades and contractors that come on site to build your buildings. Only thing that might seem weird about that is, well, what does the contractor's insurance have to do with the county mutual insurance and your insurance? Work comp in the state of Wisconsin, we all have to charge the same thing. We, being insurance companies. So if you write workers' compensation, we all have to use the same formula, the same facts and figures. All you do is plug in the payroll numbers and our numbers all come up to the same. So when we ask the contractors to back out their number, it's pretty much apples to apples. So this concept started back in '97 and it's been going. Now, the neat thing is that when this goes and it goes well, the money that you paid for your insurance is now your money to be able to recover from. So it takes about half of the premium dollars to operate this program, which means half of the premium is available to come back to you in a dividend. If you don't have many claims, if you don't have any claims, if you don't have any expensive claims, that money can be pretty substantial. That was us. That was us. So I'm not here giving you money. I'm here giving you money that has been earned with hard work and diligent people. I'm going to introduce some people that are just instrumental to making this happen. It's the folks from Samuel's group. And so I have Tim Norton, wave Tim behind me. He is the project manager on this site. Brian Winter's got to be sitting next to him without looking, right, Brian? Go ahead and wave your hand. So those two partner up on their project. I was here every week, every couple of weeks, and interface with them. Brian is in charge with a lot of the superintendent activities in the trailer. Tim's overseeing it next level up. And then next to him, probably if they're all sitting together, is the guy that brought me in and put all the pieces together. His name's Kurt Berner. He is the vice president at Sammy's Group. Is this an old story? Yeah, it is. So Kurt can help me out when this first started. I was trying to remember when the first emails arrived. Was it 4 years ago, Kurt, when we were working on this and you invited me in?
It's probably pretty close, yeah.
So 4 years ago, I don't know if any of the board supervisors were here 4 years ago, but there was an ad hoc building committee that Donna was involved with, and Kurt brought me in at the right time to explain what this ODIP is all about. And we don't operate in a vacuum. The state of Wisconsin gives approval. We just don't raise our hand and say, hey, how about our ODIP? You guys up for it? You guys up for it? We have to get approval from the state. Department of Workforce Development is the body that gives us special permission. We have to go down there and meet with them. They want to impress upon us that this isn't about money, this is about safety. And they're absolutely right. And the person that went with me was the representative that represented the owner of the county, and it was Donna at that time. And so I wanted to ask John, and we chatted before, just thank Donna very much next time you see her on my behalf, for her to be able to roll up her sleeves and go down to Madison. Got to know her, lovely person, and we got the approval and our project was off and running. Kurt Berner and I have done these several times. So now you build a project or you build several projects And there are a lot of moving parts, obviously. And I love the phrase, I love when a plan comes together. Because when a plan comes together, a lot of people go home every night safe and sound to their family. And that's the part that always hits me the hardest when you think about it. We're in a tough industry. Think about this building here. There were moments where I'd lay in bed, oh, we're putting up steel now. We're up a couple of stories and we're connecting steel, and are we going to be safe? In your atrium, you got those big windows up there. You've got the ceiling tiles that are, man, that's a ways up there. If somebody fell, that would be a bad day. There are enough things in construction that people can really get hurt and people die across the country doing construction every year, unfortunately. So knock on wood, by having a lot of moving parts pulling the rope the same direction, we've got the success that we had here on both of our projects. So at the conclusion of both of our projects, I think we had 2 claims that were kind of small. So we almost made it totally clean. They were in the $1,200 claims, stuff in the eye, they got around their safety glasses and that. But there's not only just safety codes, there's people that are pulling together. I got to know Barry well over the course of these projects and his staff for what he was helping from the ground floor up. I get to know Brian, our highway commissioner, and going over to that building and working through things and watching how that thing came up. We did it. And we did it well. This will be a story, and Mary's nice enough to go ahead and take a picture. And this picture's gonna be in the WCA magazine, I guarantee it. I've been instructed that get those pictures and the story's gonna go into, so if you're not watching the WCA magazine, look for an issue or 2 coming up, you'll be in there. And John will be in there, and this picture will be in there. And so before I get John to come on down, and we'll go ahead and get up to the top and we'll unwrap our present, and hopefully you can all look at the number on the check and gasp together, because I would. I want Kurt to come up here, Kurt Berner, to come up here and say hi and reintroduce himself. So if some of your board supervisors weren't there on that ad hoc committee, that's the story of how it all came about, and what a building, what a buildings.
Evening, everyone. I'll keep it brief. I know some of you weren't here when we started and some of you were. And what Vance talked about was kind of uncharted territory for you. And I want to thank you for trusting our direction in the ODIP approach. It is successful. I want to thank you for the opportunity of being a part of your project. And then I definitely want to thank the tradespeople, because what Vance talks about is us leading and guiding. It still came down to each one of those tradespeople holding each other accountable to make sure that they were making safe decisions and taking care of one another. And that's why everybody was able to go home safely. And we appreciate that. So thanks for being a part of it tonight and being a part of your project.
Could I also say real quickly
Yeah.
too, I just want to tell you both how much we appreciate being advised to go with this program. And with both of your groups, Vance, I know you had boots on the ground. You guys obviously were here every day, so making sure those protocols were followed. And I don't know if you knew, but they would buy safety lunches for the workers occasionally as a reward. So all of that was good. So this was a collaborative effort, and we're getting the dividend. We really appreciate it. So
Every 100 days, we worked on the projects, both of them. Every 100 days we went without an injury, we bought lunch. I'd buy one lunch, and then Kurt and Tim and Brian would buy another lunch, and we went back and forth. We had a lot of lunches. So that's why this big check is a big check. So come on, John, down, John, let's open it up. And we'll take a picture. Come on, Samuel's gang.
have my suit.
You look just.
Thought I had a slit on the end, but I don't. So we'll just go ahead and do this. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and take your big check out.
Oh my goodness, that is a big check. Holy cow, that's very nice. Yes, that's it.
Why don't you show the audience first and then I'll.
So how big is that number?
That is $197,000.
$197,371.86. And Megan's already got the check, right, Megan?
I do.
So the money is already in the check.
It's probably spent.
Okay, come on in so you like each other a little bit.
Come over by me, Ryan.
There you go. All right, looking great. Several chances to look good. Not that you need them, but I do. Here you go, looking good.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you all.
Yep.
Thanks for coming.
So you got some new money, huh, Mary? Megan? And John, you got a little bit of new money? You got plans for that yet?
No.
You've got something to play with. Very good seeing you. Take
Thank
care.
you, nice to see
Thank you.
Good. So now we'll move into the county administrator's monthly report with our administration.
Thank you. Well, I don't have 200 grand to present tonight, so it's not quite as exciting. But I'll just briefly run through a few updates here. So as you know, Supervisor Dylan Gray gave his resignation from the board. So we currently have a vacancy for District 4. Per statutes, that would be appointed by our county board chair with confirmation by the full county board. Hoping we'll have a recommendation for the April 15th board meeting to appoint that vacancy. I did send out an email to you all, but I did appoint Dean Anderson as our highway commissioner pending confirmation at this board's meeting, at the board meeting this evening. Dean is here tonight. He has been serving as our interim highway commissioner for the past month in the vacancy and doing a really great job there. So we're excited to welcome him on board in a full-time ongoing capacity there. We will continue to have our highway consultants on board through August at this point to help with the onboarding and training of our new commissioner as well. I met with Bill Kern, one of our consultants over there. He is starting to work on an equipment management plan for the highway department. Consistently, what he's seen over there is kind of a lack of long-range, long-term planning, which is something we've identified with strategic planning. That's a need in many of our departments, which is why we're going through the strategic planning process. But that's one of the things that Bill has started working on is a equipment management plan to start getting some of our older equipment turned over and purchasing new and managing that. So that's one of his expertise as well. The Strategic Planning and Public Works Committee will be having a pavement road tour tomorrow to go take a look at some potential paving road projects to start kind of mapping out what needs to be done this year and in future years as well. The demolition of the courthouse is underway. Ruth and Mike worked on a grant with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. They received a grant for up to $98,000 for asbestos abatement, and that's for the old nursing home that's also going to be torn down as part of the demolition project. So they're starting on the courthouse first, and then we'll work on tearing down that nursing home facility. We're also working with the city of Wautoma to get an RFP out for that property once it is ready to get back on the tax rolls so that we can look at getting some residential housing development in there. Overall goal, wanting it to remain as a taxable property, but also to help assist with some of our housing needs in the city and county. Next month, we'll have a resolution to formally transfer that courthouse property over to the YMCA. We need to get that in place so that they can get some new market tax credits and things that they need on their end. If you haven't heard yet, the statues from the old courthouse have found a new home. Not yet, but they will be moved to a property in Wild Rose, right on 22 when you're coming into Wild Rose on the south. There's a Army helicopter there. And Ruth and I had gone out and met with the Village of Wild Rose board. They are in favor of the statues moving there, as well as the Legion there in Wild Rose. So the Legion leases the property from the Lions Club, which is right across from there. So they're looking to move the statues, and the facilities committee was all in agreement with that. So Ruth is coordinating with operating engineers to get those statues moved over there once the weather is ready for that. One other thing we've been working on as a county is the Judicial Officer Privacy Act 235, which is going into effect April 1st. Heather Frasenska, our Register of Deeds, Stephanie Sattler is our Land Information Officer, and Ruth have all been working on processes and procedures for the county. So the Judicial Officer Privacy Act is basically allows particular judicial officers and their relatives to file to have their information shielded. And so there's many implications if we receive a request to receive that. So we're working through what that process would look like from a county as a whole, just to make sure that that information remains private, from land records to tax deeds to marriage licenses and anything that there could be judicial names and addresses associated with. So more to come on that. The 2026 budget timeline was sent out, so departments are starting to work on their capital improvement requests already for next year, with those requests due May 6th, and then those will all be vetted by the Strategic Planning Committee. We recently had our indirect cost auditor on site. He was doing some review of how we charge out our IT and maintenance costs to make sure that we're recouping as much money as possible from departments that are able to recoup some of those charges. So we're looking at particularly our facilities charges to see if we need to make any changes for efficiencies there. We've also been working with our auditors, CLA, on a review of our financial structures, processes, and systems. They met on site a couple weeks ago with all of the financial staff throughout the county. They conducted some one-on-one interviews, and they'll be providing some recommendations on how we can gain some improvements and efficiencies in our financial personnel structure, as well as system optimizations. Strategic planning continues. The administration team held our first team meeting with Tim Baroud last week. Started to review some of those SWOT analysis that we received and starting to identify some themes from the feedback that we got there. He'll be going through with 2 other departments, Veterans Services and UW Extension coming up are the next ones he'll be working with. I recently attended the Waushara Tourism Resource Commission meeting. They are going to be doing another Discover Wisconsin episode. So I'd mentioned they last did one in 2019. They're looking to do another one, and we're looking to, as the county, to partner with them to do kind of a highlight of their county park system in conjunction with that. And then lastly, we also had a Waushara County Economic Development Corporation meeting recently. That commission has not met for several years, so we're looking at reviving that with meeting with UW Extension tomorrow to go over what some of the resources and ideas that they have for reviving some economic development efforts within the county. So there will be more to come on that in the future as well. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Is there any questions for Megan? Okay, thank you. We'll move into the UW Extension Annual Report with our Area Extension Director, Pat Wagner, and staff.
Good evening. As John said, my name is Pat Wagner. I'm the Area Extension Director here in Waushara County. Our report tonight is on the screen. It's a little bit long, but we have some really active staff members who wanted to let you know all the good work that they've been doing. I think it's important for me I want to comment on something that Megan just said. She said she'd be meeting tomorrow with UW Extension about economic development. And that's one of those other programs that we won't share with you tonight, because you are part of the co-funded policy positions contract with UW Extension. Waushara County gets those benefits that come on top of everything else that we offer here in the county. We have our staff with us tonight. Some of them are co-funded, which means they are paid for part by the county, part by the state. Some of them are paid totally by the state. I'm one of those people. Lacey's one of those people. She's paid for by SNAP Ed funds, the United States Department of Ag. And then Rosie, our support staff person, is a completely county funded staff person. In 2024, our budget came out in the black, so we did great there. We get those other programs, so those are benefits to the county. And with that, let me just mention what our mission is as we do extension work here, and then each of them will have a chance to come up and speak with you. Let me see if this works. It did. There's our folks. Our extension mission is to connect the people of Wisconsin with the University of Wisconsin. And we teach, learn, lead, and serve, transforming the lives of the people and the communities that we serve. And with that, I'm going to let Heidi Hensel-Buntrock, our 4-H program educator, take a turn. Push it to the left, to the right, to the right.
As Pat said, my name is Heidi, and I am the 4-H educator. I have been in the county since 2016, and over those 9 years, the 4-H program has seen a tremendous growth. Today, there are 16 4-H clubs. In 24, I had 320 members. Enrollment for this coming year was this past fall, and I'm up to now 340 members. So it continues to grow. Some families have even moved from other counties. They like what they see in Waushara County. All this would not be possible without the amazing volunteers. There are 87 volunteers who lead club meetings, assist with many of my activities, workshops, etc. that I hold. The projects with the highest enrollments are art, woodworking, and the woodworking is really a testament to, some of you may know, excuse me, the woodworking. He was Tom Stepanek from Wild Rose. He's really taken ownership of that woodworking project and invites members over to his workshop and works with them on their projects. So that project has really seen a tremendous growth because of Tom. Legos is also this year moved into one of the top 5 or 6 projects. Some of the programming that I did last year and continue with this year, Project Discovery Day, we held that on May 1st here at the Government Center. It was a tremendous success. All the rooms, it was just parents who were here were able to hang out in the atrium, so it was a great success. Sewing Saturdays, demonstration contests, you can read all those on there. And many of those are held now at the Highway Department or this summer at the food stand at the fairgrounds. New this past year was gardening camp and the foods and baking camp, and those were very popular with the 4-H families. Art camp last year was the 4th year, and I believe that picture on the right is from the art camp, and I think I had almost 100 kids participating in art camp, which is about 30% of the members in the county. Continuing with some of the other programs, Clover Bud camps, dog obedience classes, etc. And I really want to give a shout out to the Horse Quiz Bowl. There's a group of 4-H youth who meet weekly, starting in January through May. And they've done this probably for the last 7 or 8 years. And they consistently, every Thursday night, work on learning anatomy of horses. They have like a buzzer system, and they go to a competition each year at the end of May. And this past May, they placed first. So by placing first in the state of Wisconsin, they became eligible to represent Wisconsin in October in Columbus, Ohio. And out of 11 teams, they placed 6. So they were very proud of themselves. Each year we have a summer camp. The last couple of years we've held it outside of Wautoma at Camp Lakota, and it is with our 5 counties in the area. Educational experiences are also very popular with the youth. Several of the experiences explore Wisconsin. That's where a group of the younger members, they plan the itinerary and spend 3 days exploring a part of Wisconsin. This past year it was Door County. Space Camp is also very popular, where the youth go to Huntsville, Alabama, Citizen Washington Focus, and then the American Spirit trip. The county fair is all the highlight of most 4-H families. It's also where the youth really get that reflection of their projects that they had been working on. Each year we hold a livestock auction. This past year, our auction brought in $316,000, of which 20 steers were sold, 52 hogs, 20 lambs, 32 small animals, 6 dairy sponsorships. And while the steers, hogs, and lamb numbers have remained pretty consistent over the past years, the small animals, which would be your turkeys, ducks, and chickens, really have grown. I think the past year, I think there were like 12 or 13, and this past year we had 32 sold. But the larger animals, it is very expensive to raise a large animal, so the opportunities with that smaller animals has become popular with some of the families. This past year was the 150th anniversary of the Waushara County Fair. ribbons that were given out is the Grand Champion ribbons, had the 150th anniversary. Also, there was entry where youth could create some type of entry reflecting the 150 years of the fair. And there was many of those youth had participated in that exhibit. And also at the fair, we recognize our graduating 4-H members. I'm also active in the after school and library programs in the community. The 3 Watoma schools, this past year I added Wild Rose, and that's been a great success going to that school district. I do the ICLA summer school for 4 weeks in June, and then the summer reading program at the libraries. I go to each library and do a program. 4-H ambassadors, they're a group of youth who are in that 8th grade and up, and they really are looking to grow their leadership skills. And many of those events that I had shown on previous slides are actually planned, organized, and many of the sessions are led by those ambassadors. They do the games at the Wild Rose Days, they plan a pool party, and also have a booth at the Blue Ribbons Kids Day last year and then again this coming 2 weeks. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So, community development. Before I actually start, I also want to just reiterate. I was at the initial, as Megan had said earlier, the initial Waushara County Economic Development Commission meeting 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, and as an invite. And out of that meeting, there was a lot of discussion about, okay, where are we going to go with this? It's kind of like starting over. And I knew right away that within community development at UW Extension, we have specialized economic development specialists. And so I reached out, and it's really cool. They got back to me right away, said, you know what, let's get these 3 people together. I think we can come up with some things. And so we're going to do that tomorrow. So that's just part of the value added with Extension, and it's really a benefit to you. So for my part, I'm in the organizational and leadership development part of the community development at UW Extension. So these 6 pieces here that you see on the screen are our outcomes that we strive for in the work we do. I'm not going to read each one of them. They're right there for you. They're on the slides, but know that this is kind of like the focus of what I'm working on at all times. So in 2024, of course, I came on in July. Most of you know that. And so a big part of the start of my position was onboarding. There was the general UW employee onboarding. There was the Community Development Institute onboarding. And of course, the onboarding for Waushara County. So I had a lot of onboarding to do. It took a while, but we're through it now. Then the strategic planning came along, right? That was part of the position when I applied for it. Was there was going to be a focus on strategic planning here in the county. And so we've been working on that. I'll be giving the next quarterly update on strategic planning next month. So stay tuned. Besides strategic planning, I've been working on some other things as well. One of those is comprehensive land use planning. I presented to the Waushara County chapter of the Towns Association about a month ago. It was now 3 towns reached out for assistance, and I have attended 2 meetings so far and shared with town boards about the comprehensive planning, how to go about it. Very good feedback from them. I was able to answer questions, things like that, and share resources. I also had an opportunity to speak to the, I may get the name wrong. It's the Waushara County Lakes District Council, possibly?
Watershed Lakes.
Watershed, thank you. Todd's here, they would know. All right, thanks, Todd. So I was able to speak at one of their meetings, and from there got connected with one of our lakes here in the county, Pleasant Lake Management District, actually. My goal at that meeting was to just share how lake plans are really strategic plans, and how lake districts can go about really, fixing those, or not fixing the plans, but updating the plans, doing that work without a lot of expense and such. And so I had the opportunity to join one of their board meetings about a month and a half ago. They're still working on naming priorities, what priorities in their current plan they want to have. And a lot of things I'm hearing from a lot of the lakes districts in the county is our plan is so huge, we don't even know where to start. And that's why I have that note up there about helping to simplify 150-page plans to something usable. 150 is not an uncommon number for the size of a lake plan. And so it's just hard. It's hard for boards to get their heads around that and do something with it. And part of my role is to help them see it as something they can actually do. And then something I'm very excited about recently, well, over the last couple of months, I had received a lot of concern from people about there's a lot of good work going on in the county on the part of committees, groups, teams, boards, organizations, and people are feeling overwhelmed, disengaged. It's not uncommon in a small community where one person might have to sit on 4 or 5 different teams. It's not like an urban area where you can spread the wealth, right? So people are feeling a little overwhelmed. People don't know what other people are doing. And so from that, this was one of those things that I talked to my program manager at the UW about and said, what resources are out there for helping groups to come together, to communicate better, to be more efficient? And she elevated this to other people at the UW, and now this has become a project, which is really cool because Waushara County and another county in northern Wisconsin, ironically, we're having kind of the same problem at the same time with this. And so that came together into this project that is now we're going to be working on with the Community Development Institute to create kind of these 3 bullet points here at the bottom. What groups are working on what issues? So first part is mapping out who's doing what here. And number 2, how do we make the connections between them? So how do we help them to find out about each other and work together? And then number 3, how do we partner to create an efficient and cohesive effort? So how do we then swim the same direction? If we have 2 groups working on an issue from different perspectives, how do we bring them together then and make it more efficient and easy for everyone? So very excited for that. So that is a stay tuned piece for the future. Thanks, everyone.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Adam Harfield. I'm the regional livestock educator here in Waushara County, covering Adams County and Green Lake County as well. May of 2025 marks my 2nd year in this position. So 2024 was my first full calendar year of programming here in Waushara County, as well as the surrounding counties. So I primarily focus on beef cattle production, but also cover the other species of livestock as well. So some of the educational opportunities I provide for producers here in Waushara County are news articles. Some of these you may see in the Argus, as well as statewide news outlets too, be it Wisconsin Agriculturalist or other outlets as well. Other things I work on, publications. These would be similar to the articles, just longer. They entail more research-driven information we get from the university, as well as surrounding states that we work with as well. Another fair amount of my time goes to producer calls and visits. These would be office calls that I get where producers ask me basically to troubleshoot and kind of provide them with some insight, research-based information that I get from the university, so I can help them that way. I do have some involvement with the fair. Upcoming years, we're looking to have a little bit more involvement with the fair because that's an opportunity for me to meet producers as well as some of the youth livestock producers too. That might, be the next generation of producers in this county and surrounding areas. Other things, tools and fact sheets. You see at the top there's a chute side cooler, basically a 5-gallon bucket we use for vaccinations, keeping them cool, keeping them warm depending on the time of the year. So I write tools, fact sheets for producers to look at on our UW Livestock website, which you see on the bottom there. You can follow the QR code listed on the screen if you want to see and read a little bit more about that. Lastly, producer public inquiries. These are just simply office calls that I get, emails that I get that I provide, answers to, or route them to the individual through UW-Madison that would know a little bit more maybe than I on a certain topic. Some outreach and events. So these would be the in-person opportunities that I'll provide for producers in this county and beyond. The first one being Waushara County Dairy Breakfast was over at Hancock this last year. I, as well as my colleague Natasha behind me, were there to basically introduce ourselves to producers and constituents of the county that maybe don't have livestock don't produce, you know, agriculture commodities, but are consumers of these objects and, you know, have interest in it, interest in what we do, that sort of thing. The only other thing I want to highlight specifically on this slide is the Pelter workshop that I held here, actually at the county shop in October. And this was a planning emergency livestock transport response. So what this workshop was for first responders in the area, of what they would do if they arrived on a scene of a livestock transport crash. This could be small trailers, this could be fifth wheel trailers, this could be big potload trailers. And at the top right there, you see some of our attendees were in a potload trailer that we got to come to the county. And so, you know, we went through, what does this look like? Because a lot of people, the fact is a lot of people are 3 or 4 generations removed from the farm. So a lot of these folks don't know how animals act when they're in these stressful situations, especially, you know, when they're in the time where the trailer might be tipped over on the side of the road. How are you going to extract those animals safely and soundly? Some of, you know, we might have fatalities in the trailer. How do we do those sorts of things swiftly, but also humanely as possible? Because we understand that there's always someone else watching us. So we have to make sure we're doing things the right way. So that was very well perceived. Great. We didn't have a lot of people come to that, but that was a goal too. We wanted to be able to train the trainer. So, you know, have enough people there so we could do some hands-on activities inside the trailer, outside the trailer, as well as we had some activities at tables that we were working with. But so they can go back to their community, back to their first responder, the people who volunteer, in order to facilitate that information. Unfortunately, but fortunately, we had one crash since this happened in October. It was in Adams County where we did have a potload trailer catch fire. There was fatalities, unfortunately, but they used the information that they got from this workshop, and we've had follow up with their EMS director, just basically being appreciative and looking for more information in the future so we can, you know, keep educating ourselves in these types of situations. Some other activities that I've had over the last year, Farm Technology Days was not in this area this year, but upcoming it will be. And 2 years ago it was in Baraboo. So that's another great opportunity for me to have hands-on interaction with producers. And on the bottom right there, you see we have a handling facility and we're teaching like chute side cooler vaccination protocols, where, when, how to give vaccinations, that sort of thing to producers or anyone else interested in Farm Technology Days. Another thing is on-farm workshops. There on the bottom left, you see one that I had in the area here in September that was. And again, we're talking about chute side, vaccination, handling facilities, and anything else that the producers had that they wanted to discuss with us. But just as important as in-person events are virtual trainings and webinars that I also host. A lot of our beef producers or livestock producers in the county and surrounding area work an 8 to 4, 9 to 5 job. So it's just really hard to get a lot of folks at one time to come to an in-person event. So by, you know, having these live webinars or trainings or having them recorded and available to producers, it allows them to basically educate themselves on their own time. So some of these webinars and virtual trainings that we had, Beef 101, this was the second year for that particular program. In back-to-back years, we have had over 100 participants. So that's great to see. That is the statewide program, but in the first year alone, 10% of those 100 people, so around 10 to 15 folks were from the Waushara County area. So that's really cool to see, and that's for just beginning beef producers, geared towards the folks who are looking to get into beef production or maybe have just started. Another piloted program that I just finished up was the UW Extension Noontime Beef Roundup. You see the flyer there on the right side. I just kind of wanted to give you guys and gals just a brief snippet of what that would look like. So what we did is bring in experts from outside the state of Wisconsin that have other experiences, maybe some different climate experiences, or just different, ideas to give to producers of Wisconsin. So that was really well received. So we're going to continue to do that webinar series in the future. Some other things that we provided was a beef on dairy webinar. Obviously, dairy production is very popular here in the state, as well as dairy beef production, our beef sires on dairy dams. So that's another webinar opportunity that folks had. Transitioning to EID was another one. There was a rule in November that everything has to be electronically identified now moving forward. So that was a good opportunity for folks to kind of get in tune with that if the EID rule affects them. Also, risk protection webinars. Cattle aren't getting any cheaper, so anything we can do to provide, safety coverages for producers, or just provide the education for that is a benefit to them. Professional development is another good part of my job. This allows me to go to different trainings, different workshops, that sort of thing, to enhance my ability to be the best educator that I can be. So I listed a lot of these opportunities on the screen here, and that's provided through UW-Madison, pays my travel and that sort of thing. So it's something that I can go to, gain information, bring it back to the county and the producers for their benefit. So some future programming I just wanted to highlight. We talked about the value added with different things that Extension can bring to the county that maybe those folks aren't necessarily here. Well, I do have an opportunity this Saturday, actually. I'm hosting a swine workshop with our state swine specialist. He's actually from Richland County. He's going to come up and do a swine show pig workshop for the youth. It's in Green Lake County, but as of this morning, I have around 30 young people signed up for that, half of those being from Waushara County. So it's very cool to see that interaction and folks coming down to these different events. Farm Technology Days, like I mentioned, it's in Outagamie County this year. UW Extension, specifically the livestock team, hopes to have a very robust presentation for that. Field days, I'd like to have a feedlot performance field day this summer. Still working the details out on that, but identified a need in this region. So we're going to try to have a field day performance based off that. I mentioned the fair, producer calls and farm visits will never end, newspaper articles, and then just some things that I'm working on currently is the beef cow nutrition publication, just the stages of production, fact sheets, stages 1 through 4 to help our producers be more aware and in tune with the nutrition of their cows and how, each stage of the production cycle is affected. As well as direct marketing fact sheets. A lot of people are, buying their meat nowadays from, directly sourced places. So just a few series of fact sheets for the producer and the consumer of where their meat's coming from, what they're getting, are they getting the right price, is the farmer charging the right price, make sure everyone's on the same page. So those are to come. And then lastly, if you want to learn more about all the things that I talked about, specifically articles and publications, I invite you to visit the Livestock Extension website, follow the QR code to learn more about that. So thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Natasha Paris, and I'm the regional crops educator for Green Lake, Marquette, Waushara, and Adams counties. And 2024 was my 3rd year in the job. And so there's a bullet point there, but we're going to go through in some slides that talk a little bit about what I've been doing. So my role is regional, so it is across the area, and I have a diversity of crops to focus on. We are the area of the state with probably the most diverse cropping systems. And so a lot of my colleagues focus on dairy forage systems, silage and alfalfa, and not that those crops aren't important, but we also grow things like potatoes and peppers here in Waushara County that my colleagues do not have to worry as much about. So I am actually the only regional crops educator that has a produce focus as well. And so I did a lot of direct education. So you saw the flyer on the previous page for the Hancock Highlight Series. That's something I piloted in 2023, where the Hancock Station is such a gem and it doesn't get the attention it deserves, right? We're so fortunate to have that station here in our community. And so I work with the station staff and the researchers. So sometimes, a lot of times it's the researchers who don't have the big potato work that gets highlighted on Potato Day, because there's a big potato field day in mid-July every year. But there's a lot of other work happening at the station that doesn't get talked about a lot. So so I try to have field days throughout the season. And the one you see on the left there, I'm particularly excited about because the corn that we're standing in that field is actually corn that's fixing its own nitrogen, which if you know anything about plants and farming, that is a world-changing concept right there, and it's that research is happening here in Waushara County, so you can be really proud of that. And it's unique that it actually requires irrigation. It's based on some corn from Mexico where they have a very humid climate. So yeah, so I was geeking out. It was so exciting. We held a weed management workshop at the Arlington station. Had a lot of attendees from all over the state, including some from this area, where we brought in a speaker from Purdue talking about weed management and herbicides, because that's a perennial issue, literally. And then I've worked with the Farmers of the Rocha Cree, it's a producer-led watershed group that is in Washington and Adams counties. And we did some on-farm research in potatoes to see if we could maybe use interseeded cover crops to reduce nitrate leaching. And we're actually gonna pull the lysivers. We dug these little pucks of plastic that have a resin in them to catch the nitrate. And we put them in the field, and they've been in the field for a year, and they're gonna extract them on Friday. So we could see, you know, I don't know, it's very preliminary data at this point, but it's like trying to think of what can we do to maybe reduce nitrate leaching in potato, right? Because we don't want to stop growing potatoes because they're such a valuable crop, but we also know the impacts on our groundwater. So as I said, research is a lot of what I do. So I had that potato trial, and then I also had a couple corn trials. I did some soybean work. So all the time just working on research, trying to find where can we be more both profitable and sustainable. That's always my goal, is profitability and sustainability. So yeah, meetings and field days. I had a meeting where I brought Dr. Rodrigo Burley up to the region in February. I held a processing crops meeting at Hancock and in Green Lake, and then again in Hancock this last month. Industry reached out to me and requested a potato scouting school, and so I had over 40 people attend that at the Hancock station in preparation of potato season. And then the Hancock Highlight Series that I talked about. Statewide, I've worked on nutrient management and pesticide applicator trainings, and I was a big part of what was called the Wisconsin Ag Climate Outlook, where I worked with meteorologists to write a weekly report specifically about agriculture, to help farmers know to help them understand the trends in weather and what they could be thinking about to better get through the season. So that is the end of that, and this is my last meeting in front of you because I'm no longer a UW employee. So I have resigned, and I'm agronomist for a fertilizer company. So, but thank you very much for all your support over the years. And I wanted to, technically last week was my last week, but I wanted to come tonight just to say, to talk about my work and to say goodbye and thank you. So
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you.
So, excuse me. My name is Lacey Monroe. I am the Food-Wise Nutrition Educator for Marquette, Waushara, and Green Lake counties. Like Pat said, my position is funded by SNAP Ed, so the Supplemental Nutrition Assistant Program. So that means my target audience is low income. So that means I work with schools in the counties that have a free and reduced lunch rate of 50% or higher. I work with Head Starts, the food pantries, and I did some farmers market work. So here in my report, I just highlighted some numbers about how many different learners I had over the last year. So my typical in-school programming is a 5-week series that I run. I'll go in multiple grades in the school and do a 30 to 45-minute nutrition lesson where we talk about my plate and the food groups. I am working with Parkside, Red Granite, Coloma, and Riverview this last year, and this year finished up at Tri-County, so I was really excited to add them to the programming as well. And also, I worked with the Waushara County Food Pantry with Nate Knight, and they were at a position this year that they wanted to survey their audience, their participants, to just see if they were meeting the needs of the community. So part of my role, I was able to gather the questions that they wanted answered and distribute that survey to the participants. Another great part of my job is I get to go to the warehouse when they're packing up the monthly shares of dry goods and help with some recipe development. So I'm able to look at what the participants are getting and find a yummy treat or a recipe, and then I'm able to give out samples at the pantry while they're picking up the share with the recipe. Just because there's a lot of repetition in the dry goods. So one of the items I featured was a little protein ball that had oatmeal and peanut butter and some dried fruit and a little bit of honey, and it went over really well. So that was a really fun collaboration, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that again this summer. And then one of the other projects I had this year was with the Berlin's Farmers Market. I reached out to the market manager and helped her get EBT as a form of payment, so people could use their Quest card to buy produce, meat, eggs at the farmers market. So that's a long process with the USDA filling out applications, and luckily we have specialists at UW Extension that can help with that process. So they were able to get that up and going and had great success. And I'm also able to go to the farmers market and do farmers market tours with those participants to help them get the biggest bang for their buck and help them meet the people that are selling, you know, the beef and the eggs and the produce at the farmers market. So thank you.
That concludes our presentation. Does anybody have a specific question?
Anybody have any questions for our educators?
I gave you a brochure about our office. If you have any questions to follow up on, please let us know. And thank you so much for your support. We hope we're bringing the right things to the county. And if you have other things we need to look into, let us know. Megan,
Thank you for all the important work you're doing. Well, appreciate it. Good. Thank you. Next, we'll have our Land Conservation and Zoning Department Annual Report with our Director, Todd Waller.
Good evening, everyone. Let me put my eyeballs on. And I don't have a check either, but I do have some good news with some numbers. Well, we finally ushered out 2024. And with that, we witnessed another record-breaking year in our department. General permanent activity soared even higher record levels in 2024, eclipsing record numbers that we experienced just 2 years prior. We witnessed an 8% increase in land use permits and 6% increase in sanitary permits. And in all, we saw a surplus of over, and here's my number, $126,000 back to the general ledger. And this was even despite, you know, the continued inflation that we've been seeing with high labor material costs throughout the region. But while we did celebrate numerous successes, the retirement portal, sorry, I got to throw that in there, NCAA is going on right now. But the retirement portal did capture another one of our long tenured employees who happens to be sitting right there. John Olson, land conservation technician, decided to hang up his boots and turn off his CAD program after 31 years of dedicated service. John was responsible for planning, designing, and supervising the installation of countless conservation practices throughout the county. And while John leaves a huge void and big shoes to fill, we did hire an exceptional employee, a land conservation technician, Sam Jensen from the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. He'll be taking over the CAD design as well as overseeing county conservation practices and resource management. We also hired a agronomist, soil health specialist through a federal grant program called Climate Smart Commodities with the Foxwoods Watershed Alliance. Kaylee Overby, also a graduate from University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. She'll be working with local farmers on conservation practices to better meet carbon and water quality targets. Excuse me. Kaylee's position will be fully funded through the grant for the next 2 years. Both Kaylee and Sam, like I say, are recent grads from University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. And
make sure it's turned on.
I'm sorry.
Make sure it's turned on. I think Pat turned it off.
Oh, sorry.
One side.
Switch on this side. There it is.
Set them up.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Our office issued over 565 land use permits for 88 new homes, 56 additions to homes, and 421 accessory structures. As you can see from that bottom slide on the left-hand corner, you can see a general trend upward since 2014. Based upon the permit activity that we've been seeing so far, 2025 is going to be no different. Activity has just been incredible. General Engineering, our current contracted inspection agency, issued over 478 total permits. They were spread amongst new homes, commercial structures, additions to homes, alterations and decks to homes, electrical installations and upgrades. And the fees collected, they exceeded $224,000 in total. In addition, we issued 207 sanitary permits authorizing 75 new private on-site wastewater treatment systems, 101 replacement systems, and 21 connections to existing systems. As many of you are aware, we are also required by the state to have a mandatory 3-year sanitary septic maintenance program. So that we don't overload the systems, we do stagger these in 3-year increments. In 2024, we sent out a total of 3,640 notices. Good thing is, working with the landowners, it resulted in only 53 citations. We've worked with a lot of those owners since then. Right now, we only have 28 of the 3,640 that are remaining as outstanding. This represents an overall compliance rate of over 99%. We also get out in the field quite a bit. Our department conducted over 685 field visits to various properties around the county. These included 180 sanitary system inspections, 2 on-site soil verifications, about 214 code non-compliance investigations, 47 annual trailer inspections, 183 landowner requested information visits, 1 re-veg, and 58 address number assignments. And staff worked also with 14 non-metallic mining sites involving approximately 259 unreclaimed or active acres. Annual inspections from this program netted the department $4,400. And working from the soil and with the soil and water resource management program, we secured $43,500 for hard practices, which include shaping, grading, grassed waterways, riparian buffers, as well as wetland restorations and stream bank protection projects. We also secured $25,000 for soft practices, which include nutrient management, cover crops, and no-till. We tracked a total of 32,402 acres in our nutrient management plan, which equates to about 35% of the county's tillable land. This is an example of a stream bank protection projects that was in the town of Leon. You can see up before some dead trees, and a lot of foliage in that hanging over. And we were able to restore that, as you can see down at the bottom, with the use of both WEQIP and SWRM funds. Last year, we held the 17th annual Conservation Field Days, which is a hands-on environmental learning event that was held at Camp Lucerne. We held that with 174 fifth graders from all the public schools in Waushara County. This program has been increasingly funded as of late by donations and is staffed primarily by volunteers, in addition to departmental staff. I'd like to invite any of you next year to come and join us. It's an awesome day, or a couple days. We'll put you as a volunteer where you lead around some groups, learn some cool things, and enjoy some nice time out. This year's event, though, will, rather than Camp Lucerne, we are changing locations. This year's event will be at Coosel Lake County Park on September 25th and the 26th. The Land Conservation Department continues to also contract with the USDA APHIS program, which is the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, to provide wildlife damage abatement and claims project programs. This, as a matter of fact, just went before Louis this Wednesday. Deer damage payable losses in 2024 total $35,490. We had 8 participating landowners that were paid a total of $30,701. And as I do every year, I always make mention that our office is involved in some a couple of multi-jurisdictional collaboratives focused on regional and national concerns. This program, the Central Sands Groundwater County Collaborative, is primarily focused out on the western fringes of the county. We are now in our 5th year of that program. And this group is comprised of health professionals, land conservation professionals, and designated county supervisors from Adams, Juneau, Marquette, Portage, Waushara, and Wood counties, as well as representatives from Golden Sands. Leading the efforts on behalf of Waushara County is Tim Roth, our county health department, Josh Sackley, deputy director of land conservation, Allison McCormick, county supervisor, and myself. We have been instrumental in developing a web presence and a private well water testing and remediation program throughout the region. I'd like to pat ourselves on the back, and actually the efforts by Josh Sackley, who's also here with me, as well as Ed Hernandez, past deputy director. We began the program, our original program here in Waushara County through ARPA funds for private well water testing and also remediation. I'm proud to say that as a result of our efforts and that within the county collaborative, most of the counties that are part of that organization have now developed regular water testing programs as well as remediation programs that basically copy and mirror our program. This is just a copy of the page that is up on our webpage and also the county collaborative with interactive links to each land conservation department within each county. The Winnebago Waterways Program is another one of our collaborative efforts. This one focuses out on the eastern fringes, out in the Poygan area. And we are working together with Fond du Lac County, Winnebago County, and Calumet County, as well as the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources and the Fox Wolf Watershed Alliance. This plan was approved by the DNR in 2020, so we are actually into the 5th year of implementation. I'm still an active member in the steering committee. A couple of members of my team are also part of the technical groups that are formed to oversee the technical aspects of each individual section of the plan. In addition, we've entered into our 3rd year of being a fully funded member of the executive committee, giving us voting privileges and oversight of the Winnebago Waterways Lake Management Plan. It is our goal in 2025 to actually secure some funding for improvements in Waushara County. Megan and myself and Josh have a meeting coming up here next couple weeks, I believe, with representatives of Fox Wolf Watershed. So hopefully we can look at some worthy projects here in Waushara County in our watersheds and focus, like I say, some of the efforts of this group and keep it here at home. I bring this up, and I don't know, I think I've got a pointer on this. Well, Waushara County is basically this area over here. You can see we maintain just a very small of the surface water from the pool lakes there in Poygan, but you can see the large area of watershed that actually provides water that goes in there. One thing that I would like possibly us to focus on as part of the Winnebago Waterways group is securing some funds for possibly some shoreline restoration work. Also some, stream bank work in the watersheds, because once again, most of the money that has been secured so far from federal grants has all been concentrated in the pool lakes. And once again, I just think being a voting member and part of this group is bringing some of that money back home. And in 2024, Waushara County, along with 8 other counties in the Fox Wolf Basin, we were recently awarded funding through USDA's Climate Smart Commodities Grant, where we've partnered with the Fox Wolf Watershed Alliance to launch an incentive program aimed at encouraging climate smart farming practices. This initiative offers financial incentives to farmers who adopt no-till and cover crop strategies with the goal of capturing carbon, enhancing soil health, and reducing runoff into waterways to improve surface water quality. As I mentioned earlier, Kaylee Overby, our new agronomist, was specifically hired for this program. Her position will be fully funded for the next 2 years. Upon completion of the grant terms, Kaylee will then move over into land conservation as a full-time technician within our department. This has been made possible in part due to recent retirements and promotions within the department. In 2023, we were also able to purchase an Ash no-till drill through ARPA funds. This drill has been out on rotation ever since in a rental program. In 2024, we had 350 acres that were planted with the use of our no-till drill. Inquiries are already coming in for the Ash drill for 2025. And before I depart here, I just would like to introduce my team. If you go up to the top left, we have Sam Jensen and Kyle Kutcher. In the middle row, starting at the left, Josh Sackley, John Siebert, our building inspector, John Olson, who unfortunately will be leaving us or has left us, Laura Johnson and Kaylee Overby. And in the front row, Tom Barker, Rick Ertl, and then on my left or your right would be Becky Hubeck and Michelle Weddy. You know, as I prepare these presentations each and every year, I always look back and reflect on the challenges we faced and the diversity of individuals and the incredible progress that we've made. Based upon the sheer amount of work that we faced in 2025, I applaud each and every one of my member of my team for displaying such resiliency. I compare us to other counties and communities that I know, and I truly believe that we offer some of the finest services around for being such a small rural community. I say it each and every year to you all and to my staff, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. I've always maintained an open door policy. Please, at any time, come on, stop on by. We'll have some coffee and chat. And anyone have any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Todd? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good. Okay, we'll move into the Power of Attorney event with our Human Services Director, Clara Boybeck.
Good evening. I wanted to take this opportunity to share with you a collaborative effort that Human Services is engaging in along with Debbie Pavla of the Aging and Disability Resource Center, Bill Rossino with Veteran Services, and then Ruth up in Corporation Counsel's office. On April 10th, it is National Power of Attorney Day. This is something that we address frequently in our Adult Protective Services unit, and that the other departments that I mentioned have consumers who have power of attorney needs or have a power of attorney and have issues with it. And so we decided that in Waushara County, we are going to host our own Power of Attorney Day. We are using grant funds to provide refreshments. We will have notaries available so an individual could come in and actually complete a power of attorney for finance or healthcare. Ruth will be present. She will not be giving legal advice, but will be giving legal education and input on the process. We have a translator available to help. So just wanted to take the opportunity to share it with the board. Please spread the word, come yourselves if you'd like. We think this will be a really great event. Proud to use our spring and winter rooms to host it and have a good plan set up of moving people through the process of, if they want to, like I said, carry out, completing their own power of attorney, or if they're just interested in coming and learning about it. So any questions?
Good. Any questions for Clara? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, move into the discussion and possible motion action items. The first one is opioid settlement proceeds request. Now this is outside of the list that we had, and so we're bringing those to the board. So the first one is the Wisconsin Association of Treatment Court Professionals Conference. So it's a tuition to go to this conference. Is there a motion to support this? Okay, motion by Mr. Urban. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. McCormick. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, then we'll go ahead and vote on it.
Again. Died again. We're dead in the water.
Mr. Wadle
Yes.
and Mr. Kirschner.
Okay, so the motion passes. And then B is a training for the Waushara County Multidisciplinary Team. And that is training inside the county, basically. Is there a motion for this to fund this? Okay, motion by Mr. Urban. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Waddle. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. These are all coming from the opioid settlement dollars.
Mr. Waddle?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and the motion passes. Next, we'll have consideration and possible action on the following resolutions and ordinance. The first one, if I could, resolution number 07-03-25. I'd just like to read this if I could. It's very impressive acknowledgement of John Olson's service to the retirement from Waushara County. Whereas the County of Waushara wishes to take this opportunity to express its appreciation to John Olson for over 31 years of service to Waushara County. And whereas John was a dedicated employee who performed his role as land conservation technician for Waushara County. And whereas while serving in his role as Waushara County Conservation Technician, John assisted hundreds of individuals with program direction and technical expertise in the field of conservation planning and resource management to help individuals achieve maximum use of land while preserving and enhancing overall water quality. And whereas John was instrumental in monitoring program compliance with County Farmland Preservation Program, documenting and following up on field checks for wildlife damage control, managing the county's Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program, reclamation plan review for our non-metallic mining operations, performing erosion control inspections for our uniform dwelling code process, and planning, designing, and supervising the inspection, the installation of numerous conservation practices, including grassed and rock waterways, lakeshore protection, stream bank protection, agricultural waste storage, and countless drainage systems and wetland restoration projects. Whereas John's primary mission was to always provide excellent customer service while overcoming the many obstacles and challenges that faced him throughout his career. And whereas John completed his work with integrity and professionalism throughout his career and always brought a smile to the office. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Waushara County Board of Supervisors that one, the county board, on behalf of the grateful residents of Waushara County, does hereby acknowledge, commend, and thank John Olson for his countless hours of service to the citizens of Waushara County. And two, that every good wish is extended to John Olson for a long and enjoyable retirement filled with contentment and good health. So it's very important work and we really do appreciate it. So with that, I would look for a motion to acknowledge John Olson's service. So, okay, motion by Mr. Waddle, second by Mr. Bossert. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's proceed to vote on this.
Yes.
Okay, so this acknowledgement passes overwhelmingly. Thank you again, John. Next, we'll do resolution number 08-03-25. A resolution encouraging the United States Congress to protect essential Medicaid funding and related services. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Bossert. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, let's go ahead and vote on this. And the resolution passes. Resolution number 09-03-25. And I would like to read this as well. This is the acknowledgement of Pamela Guchow's service in retirement from Waushara County. Whereas the County of Waushara wishes to take this opportunity to express its appreciation to Pamela Guchow for 20 years of service and dedication to Waushara County as a dispatcher, correctional officer, jail corporal, then administrative secretary. And whereas acknowledgement is given to Pamela Guchow for her conscientious and dedicated service to the Waushara County Sheriff's Office and citizens of Waushara County. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Waushara County Board of Supervisors that one, the County Board of Supervisors does hereby commend Pamela for her conscientious and dedicated service, and two, that good wishes go to Pamela for a long and enjoyable retirement filled with contentment and good health. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Peterson. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Piaski. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and vote.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution passes as well with our thanks and gratitude to Pamela. Next, we'll do ordinance number 694, an ordinance amending Waushara County Codes, Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 2, Highway Commissioner. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. King. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Bossard. Do we have any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Yes.
Okay, and the ordinance passes. Next, we'll do resolution 10-03-25, a resolution for confirming the appointment of Dean Anderson as our highway commissioner. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Kirschner. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Piaski. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and vote.
Yes.
Okay, and that resolution passes as well. Okay, with that, we'll move into appointments. The first one is Library Services Committee, Lisa Aish. Watoma, her term is April 2025 through April of 2027. Is there a motion to confirm? Motion by Mr. Whale, second by Mr. King. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Yes.
Okay, and that appointment is confirmed. We'll go into proclamations, designating April 7th through the 11th, 2025 as Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week. Is there a motion? Motion by Ms. McCormick, second by Mr. Piaski. Is there any discussion? Okay, go ahead and vote. Okay, and that proclamation passes. Second is designating the week of April 7th, 2025 as National Public Health Week. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Bossard, second by Mr. Urban. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, go ahead and vote. That proclamation passed. Designating April 13th through the 19th, 2025 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Mr. Piaski. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, go ahead and vote on that.
Yes.
Okay, and that proclamation passes as well. Designated April of 2025 as Family Strengthening Month. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Wadle. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, go ahead and vote on that. Okay, and that proclamation passes as well. With that, then we'll move into any board suggestions for future agenda items. Is there anyone would like to bring forward? Okay, then I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ms. McCormick. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Urban. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.